together now, because I sell myself short every time. Oh.
Hey guys, this is Renee from Freedom Films, here with HavoK, who was the player in the montage that we posted not too long ago on Bungie.net. We got a lot of good feedback, and a few of you asked for sniping tips, so that's what we're doing. We're not going to draw this out too long, but before we start, I'll let HavoK say a little about himself. Also, at the end of the video, we're going to show you some clips where we applied these tips. We're going to bring everything full circle and give you some visuals on how it actually works. That way you can understand it better, not just a list of what you should do.
Hey guys, it's HavoK. I've been playing Destiny since day one on Xbox 360, and I've been playing first-person shooters for over 10 years now, starting with James Bond Nightfire, and then I got really into Halo 1 to 3, and I think Destiny is the best shooter for multiplayer that's been made since Halo 3. So yeah, you guys asked for some sniping tips, and I've been wanting to make Destiny videos for a while, so you guys gave me a reason to. So the goal of this video is to explain exactly how I snipe, both physically and mentally. And what I mean by that is that I'll explain the philosophy and the prerequisites of my style, and then also physically how to acquire a target with minimal effort and land consistent headshots. Please note that this is also strictly for 3v3. 6v6 is honestly just way too chaotic for me, and my style of play just doesn't do nearly as well in larger game types as it does in 3v3. I like 3v3 because it's a more controlled environment. You get to communicate with your teammates, coordinate with your teammates. You have a better understanding of where all of your enemies are, and it's easier to keep track of what weapons they have, who has supers, who doesn't have supers, and it's just a lot better for competitive gameplay.
Okay, cool. So is there anything I can do before I even jump into a match that would help me improve?
Yeah, definitely. There are two things that I consider insta-fixes. I can tell you from experience that both of these things have turned me into such a better shooter. For example, playing on a smaller TV. I remember when Halo 2 came out and I had a big screen TV and all the visuals were great and all that, but I was a terrible shooter. I couldn't get past rank 30 out of 50, for those of you that are familiar with the Halo ranking system. And then Halo 3 came out, and I got a smaller TV, and I got to 50 pretty effortlessly in a couple weeks. So I don't think it's a coincidence that the TV helped out with that. I also have a number of friends that are in love with their big screen TVs, and they don't do as well in shooters as they'd like to, and I try to get them to use smaller TVs, and they won't do it.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, so definitely before you even jump into the match, don't switch between snipers. Again, from personal experience, when the new expansions came out in Destiny, I'd get all excited and I would try out all the new snipers, and I would not be able to hit a shot for my life. I'd blame it on the sniper, I'd move on to the next sniper, again, couldn't hit shots, blame it on the sniper, so on and so forth. So again, snipers have different attributes, they have different aim assists, different perks, different scopes, so you just have to get your muscle memory down with one sniper, or else you'll just never get used to it.
Okay, cool. So, what sniper do you use? What scope? What perks? What do you recommend?
So the sniper that I've been using since day one is Prudence 2. Prudence has a really high rate of fire while still maintaining a two-shot kill to the body, which is super important if you're playing competitively. The only perk that I care about is Outlaw. None of the other perks are game-changing enough for me, I don't think. Outlaw increases the reload speed after a headshot, and when you couple that reload speed to the natural reload speed of Prudence, it makes the reload speed pretty much instant. So I rarely lose a kill because I'm caught reloading in the middle of a firefight.
Okay, so what about a scope?
So again, for 3v3, I feel that the only legitimate option is ambush. It has a really low zoom, which is really important when you're playing on small maps. And if you were to have a strong zoom scope and you're aiming at a target that's close to you, he's gonna crowd your screen, and that's going to give you a small window of time before he exits your field of vision because he's so big on your screen, and he's also going to seem faster.
Okay.
Whereas if you have a light zoom scope like ambush or even the short gaze, you can see usually his entire body and even some surrounding context, which gives you a larger window of time to acquire the target. So even if he's moving, no matter which direction he's moving, he's still going to be in your line of fire.
Okay, now I'm in a match. Where do I go? Do I run and find a perch? What should I do?
So this is where I'm going to start explaining the difference between my style of sniping and the usual perch in the back and defensively harass the other team from afar. I use a more offensive approach to sniping, where I bound around the map, use my teammates' callouts for help, and often even getting up close on a team full of shotgunners and catching them off guard. So the general tip here is to know your map traffic. So what that means is just getting a feel for what people like to do, where they usually go. And then also, this goes hand in hand with using your teammates to push the enemies through a choke point. And what a choke point is usually, it just means it's a hallway that you can aim down, where there's not a whole lot of room for the other team to move, that your teammates can push them through and give you easy pick-off kills. So, again, this just goes to show how important it is to have a team. And again, honestly, I'm allowed to snipe because my teammates complement my playstyle. So back to the original question of where should you go? Again, I go all around the map based on where the enemies are, where they like to go, what my teammates are calling out. But also, just as important, I always have an escape route. So this is a very do or die style since you're often really close to shotgunners. So you always want to try to limit your engagement. And what I mean by that is put yourself in a position where you can get the first shot off, and then if you miss, then you can immediately end the engagement if you want to. For example, I like to stand on the very edge of a ledge so that I can take a shot when someone comes around the corner. If I miss the shot, if he didn't notice me yet, I can take another shot. But if he does see me and he starts aiming at me and I don't feel comfortable taking a second shot, all I have to do is back up a foot and I immediately drop off the edge. So it's things like that that can minimize your deaths if your kills aren't through the roof.
Okay, so now that I'm understanding the map, I'm coordinating with my teammates, I'm staying mobile, I am still missing like crazy, and I'm getting wrecked by shotgunners. Also, it's awkward to use my secondary as my primary. So when it's in an awkward and uncomfortable situation, how can I get kills from these positions on the map?
Okay, so this is where you're going to have to start developing muscle memory. And you might have heard the term sweep sniping before. Again, sweep sniping is something that you're just going to have to get used to, but it's very possible if you stick to one sniper and get used to its aim assist. So the goal here is to use as little effort as possible to get headshot kills. So the first thing I recommend here is working in one dimension. So personally for me, I like to swipe horizontally across my screen as opposed to vertically. Vertically is super uncomfortable for me for whatever reason. Even diagonally is pretty uncomfortable. So I like to go as horizontal as possible. So what I do to do this is I create reference points. So what this means is I'll find things in my line of sight where I like to zoom in at, and I'll find something that I can associate with head level so that I can keep my sniper right on head level even before I see the target. So if I'm aiming through a hallway and I'm suspecting that someone's coming around the corner, I'll line it up at head level, and at the first sign of movement, I'm just swiping horizontally left or right and then pulling the trigger where my muscle memory tells me to pull the trigger. So, of course, this is going to take practice, but it's not going to be as difficult as it seems as long as you stick with the same sniper and as long as you're creating reference points. If need be, just have one of your teammates in a game run to different corners that you like to snipe around and just have them stand there and then memorize where the head is. The only time where I don't sweep, personally, is when I'm shooting at a target that's moving through the air. So, again, it's all about minimizing effort. So, when a target's grounded, he's only moving in one dimension, which is horizontally, and I'm moving my sniper in one dimension. So, that's only two factors you need to consider: your sniper in one dimension and the moving target in one dimension. But if a target is moving through the air, now you're introducing a vertical dimension to your target, a horizontal dimension to your target, and then if you're sweeping, you're often going to sweep in two dimensions as well, horizontally and vertically. So that's four factors that you have to account for. So when there's an aerial target, I let him move in his two dimensions, like I mentioned, horizontally and vertically, and then I'll just place the sniper where I think he's going to move into, and then I just pull the trigger when he passes through it.
How you became my life. You took me in before I could back out. Well, I still have faith.
So, is there any time when I should put the sniper down?
Yeah, there is only one time in 3v3 that I do not use a sniper, and that is when I'm coordinating an odd man rush with a teammate. So what I mean by this is if you and a teammate have a clear 2v1 advantage on someone, using the sniper is a very bad idea for two reasons. The goal of a 2v1 is to kill the target while escaping with 0 deaths. So let's say me and my teammate both run in with our hand cannons. Now, we have a really high chance of burning down the enemy while taking minimal damage. But if I run in with a sniper and my teammate runs in with a hand cannon, say I hit the headshot, well then we got the kill without even needing the second man. But now let's say I miss. Now that gives a window of opportunity for the enemy to kill either me or my teammate before we bring him down. So you essentially wasted your 2-man advantage by me trying to get a headshot. Alright, so now we'll bring up some clips and I'll explain how all these tips work synergistically.
Okay, so this is the first clip. Tell me what's going on here.
Alright, so I can't even remember the name of this map, but straight ahead here on my screen, there are 2 guys to the left of that wall, and my teammate is about to come up on the right side and engage in a 2v1. So the first thing I do is I realize that they're not expecting me to even be here. They're going to be entirely focused on my teammate. So I jump ahead to my ledge. And now, so here I'm going to find my reference point, which for this spot is this little black thing on the wall here. And now I'm just knowing that my teammate's engaged in a 2v1. Chances are at least one of the enemies are going to pop through that opening. So I'm just going to zoom in here knowing that my teammates are going to call out anything that's behind me. And then at the first sight of movement, I'm just going to swipe directly to the left from my reference point and then pull the trigger when it's on the head. And now, as soon as I get hit with that sniper shot, then I easily just drop down from my ledge, so I get out of there with a kill and without a death.
Alright, that's cool.
Alright, so here's some Burning Shrine. The whole team here, my whole team here, is pushing from middle. We already checked the left side, and there was nothing there, so we're going to go check out right side, because their whole team has to be here. So here I have the sniper out, and I'm pretty confident that I'll be able to have the first shot shooting outside, because I know where they are. They don't necessarily know where I am. So here's where the rate of fire of Prudence really shines. I get the body shot on the first guy, and I can quickly get the second body shot on the first guy. And now, here I accidentally moved too high up on the next target. And again, since I like to work in one dimension, which is horizontally, I'm not a fan. I'm not comfortable going diagonally down to the right there. So if we slow this down, you'll see that I'll bring the aiming down a little bit to get as horizontal as I possibly can, and then I have an easy swipe to the right for the second kill. And now, here's what not to do as a sniper. This is a terrible, terrible decision on my part. We have a 3v1. My teammates are pushing from the other side, and I decide to keep my sniper out and then go for a completely blind shot here. As I turn the corner, you'll see I have no reference point whatsoever. I don't have the slightest idea of where this guy is. And then I just try a completely unreasonable swipe, and I miss terribly. So a 3v1 that should have been easy team wipe ends up being me dying, which was not necessary at all. So that's the perfect time to take out the hand cannon so that we have at least 2 hand cannons, maybe 3, against one guy that's stuck in the corner of the map.
Alright, so what are we looking at here?
This one here is just a basic snipe. I just want to highlight the reference point with this one. This is a map that at the time I was super unfamiliar with, and I didn't really have a good feel for how to snipe people around corners. But earlier in this match, I came to this exact same spot, and I kind of just learned where head level was, because once I get to this spot here, it just took a couple games, but I realized that there's a dip over that floor there, like that floor drops off. So their head isn't going to be, first instinct would tell me that the head level would be up here. But once you learn that there's that dip over the floor, you realize that head level is actually just above it. So after I learned my lesson, I go just above my reference point, first sight of movement, swipe over for the kill.
Nice.
Alright, so here's Cauldron. It's me and Sean in this room. So right off the bat, we notice that there's a guy at bridge here on the radar. So Sean shoots at him a little. He drops off the edge, and now, knowing again that he'll call out anything to my left or right, I can just focus on this guy in the middle. So he dropped off the bridge, and I don't know if he's going to jump on the left side of the bridge or the right side of the bridge. So what I do is I find my head level. My reference point is right at the top of this little block thing, and I center it as best as possible. So now I can just immediately go straight to my right or straight to my left, depending on which side he shows up on. There he is, showing up on the right side, and it's an easy swipe.
Heavy ammo available.
Alright, so here we are on that map that I don't know what the name is. So here, I go inside, and knowing that Heavy's on the way, I have Sean that's on the Heavy right now, so I realize there's a guy on my radar behind me, likely trying to contest this Heavy. So, you know, he's obviously right on the other side of this wall. Potentially he's below it, but I did hear a blink, so that to me tells me that he's up top. So now, I know this guy's trying to take this Heavy from us, so he is very, very likely to come around that corner. So, of course, I think my best shot at killing him is with the sniper, because I also know that he has a shotgun, so trying to kill him with, you know, 3 to 5 shots with a hand cannon before he gets me with one shotgun isn't going to happen. So, I find my head level, and I'm just going to hold it there because I know he's going to come around this corner. And again, I also have my ledge right behind me, so if I need to, if I miss the shot, I can instantly drop, and hopefully that would be before he gets his shotgun shot off, and then Sean's down there to help me.
Gained the lead.
Okay, and now I remember this clip from the montage. This was a boss clip. So explain what's happening here.
Okay, so yeah, this was the centerpiece of the montage. So I'm just running in. This is right off the start of a game, a 3v3 skirmish match. I usually run to this spot pretty much every time, and it just so happened that the entire team, usually, you know, 1 or 2 of the guys shows up here, but I've never seen all 3 guys show up here. So I get to my spot, and now my reference point here is just above the table. That's every time I play Anomaly, just aiming above that table alone gets me a few kills. Because there's just a perfect amount of space. There's like a little bit of chest area, but it's pretty much just all headshot level. So the first guy, well, I was actually just there. I was initially going to shoot at the first guy, but then he moves off to the left and a guy takes his place. So I take that shot, a pretty horizontal shot, just a slight diagonal, kill him, and then my reticule just happens to end up at a perfect horizontal to the next target, so I sweep to my left. Obviously had to hurry that one because he's aiming right at me with the sniper and he even hits me with it. And now here, you know, I just move my reticule across the screen just to get it in the ballpark, and obviously I did not do a very good job of it. I'm far down to the right. So what I do is I'm super not comfortable with that up into the left shot there, with the table. The table will interfere with the aim assist, and then I also don't like crossing the chest first, because that also throws off the aim assist, because the aim assist will almost slow down when it passes the chest. So you'll see I move my aim a little bit to the right to create a more horizontal plane. So now I have a clearer diagonal shot straight to the head as opposed to having to cross the table or the chest. And that's my third swipe.
Triple kill.